I'm going to give you, and I did some research on this, the 5 best free agent signings of the salary cap era.
Okay.
Which salary cap era, for younger listeners and viewers, there was a lockout in 04-05. Jeremy Jacobs, who doesn't like spending money, was like, yo, there's got to be a salary cap. And then I'm going to spend to that, and it'll look like I spend money. So now there's a salary cap. Number 5, before I get into this, so this is inspired by Zach Hyman. We're going to do the greatest free agent signings of the salary cap era. These are not like undrafted free agents or stealth one-year deals that ended up becoming good guys. I'm talking about July 1, big ticket, throw your checkbook on the table and give a player a blank check. Huge signings that actually ended up working out for teams, because as I was doing the research on this, it's pretty tough to find 5 even that were like amazing. But I think that I have 5 here. Do you have any thoughts going in? Are there any names in your mind?
Yeah, so like Artemi Panarin was a pretty good July 1st, I want to say. Pretty good one. And Zach Hyman would jump off as being one of those guys as well. An interesting one is Sergei Bobrovsky, because everybody mocked the Sergei Bobrovsky contract for years, and he was bad for a long time. But like at this point, Sergei Bobrovsky has done enough with the Florida Panthers where I would say, if he wins a cup, that is like a good signing. Even if he gets them to another cup, like this year, if they make the Stanley Cup Finals again this year, back-to-back years, on the strength of like Sergei Bobrovsky being pretty good in net, I think that's a good signing.
Okay, this is also, as I look at the names, I'm like, this is like the most DJ list in the world. It's like only players that I like. But number 5 is a name that you have already said, Artemi Panarin.
Mm-hmm.
He is having his 4th 90-point season in 5 years with the Rangers. Been a point-a-game player in all of them. He's got 2 years after this on a 7-year. I'll give the contracts on these, by the way. Artemi Panarin, 7 years, $11.64 million AAV. Signed it in 2019. This was a deal kind of like another person on this list where it helped put them back on track to being like, okay, this is going to be a central piece of our future. And with the like Parise and Suter contracts, that's what Minnesota was trying to do. They were like, we are going to get these free agents, and now we're just off. This is what the face of our team is, and now we're okay. It didn't work out amazingly. But I think in the case of the Rangers, and they threw out huge money for him, again, $11.65 million in 2019, nothing to sneeze at. It's worked.
Yeah, and the Rangers are one of those teams that can actually do damage in free agency, and like with we talked about like the guys who refuse to sign their entry-level contracts with the team that drafted them, and then they kind of like flex their way to get to New York because it's a desirable market. Like the Rangers have a better chance of winning in free agency because they don't necessarily have to like pay through the ass, because people do want to play for the Rangers. People do want to play at MSG. People do want to play in New York and be in that market. So you have like, it's kind of like the big swinging dick that they can bring to the free agent market. And they did it with Artemi Panarin, and they can kind of like fast track their rebuild.
Number 4, signed in 2020. There's a lot of active players on this list. Number 4, signed in 2020 to a 7-year contract with an $8.8 million AAV by the Vegas Golden Knights. Alex Pietrangelo, I am saying, is the 4th best free agent signing of the salary cap era. He's got 3 more years after this, and he's got a full no move throughout or whatever, but he goes there. He is one of the like, how did a team let this go type of players, where stud first pairing defenseman plays 1 million minutes for you and wins you a Stanley Cup with Stanley Cup pedigree already at the time.
Yeah, like fresh off Stanley Cup pedigree. I would even go as far to say that like somehow Alex Pietrangelo is an underrated defenseman in the NHL. Like I don't think that he often enters into like the who is the best defenseman in the NHL discussion. He's got to be up there. He's so good and so sound. That's a great call.
Horse, dog, sound, whatever. Now, Here's where we're really getting into DJ territory. Number 3, signed in 2009 to a 12-year contract with a $5.27 million AAV by the Chicago Blackhawks, Marian Hossa. Oh my God. So he'd played in Ottawa forever, played in Atlanta, gets traded to Pittsburgh, loses the cup final.
Oh, right.
Goes to Detroit, loses the cup final. Signs this huge deal, very long, low AAV. This is back before the Mark Savard rule existed, where you kind of do that backdiving contract. Goes to Chicago, immediately wins a cup, 1 of 3, is part of a core. And no, he's not the Taves and he's not the Kane there. Those were the 2 primary pieces. But, man, and he's also, I guess, not like the Keith, but like Seabrook level type of impact. Great player for them. Just an absolute stud. Chicago legend. God, planet player.
If that's your number 3, I'm excited to see who 2 and 1 are, because that's a great contract.
Do you not know who? Do you not have guesses as to 2 and 1?
I'm gonna guess Zach Hyman is in there. I don't know who 2 would be, or I guess the other one would be.
As soon as I start to say the words, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Number 2, Zach Hyman.
Okay.
2021 signs a 7-year deal with a $5.5 million AAV. We've talked a million times about how he's such a great example of a team going out, extending themselves for a player, projecting that they can be better with them, paying a lot of money, and it just working out.
It's not a lot
21
of money,
goals.
It's really not. It's not a lot of money. I mean, like,
immediately the contract
was a big deal, but like not a lot of money.
And he had a career high of 21 goals when he joined the Oilers. Immediately gets 27 goals his first year, then 36 last year, 50 this year. What a signing. Number 1. Do we have any guesses as to what number 1 could be? Whatever, I'm just going to say it. Signed to a 5-year contract with a $7.5 million AAV in 2006. Over 17% of the salary cap. Talk about throwing out so much money to say, just get us this player. In 2006, by the Boston Bruins, Zdeno Chara, the best free agent signing of the cap era, one of the best free agent signings in the history of sports. He is the best example I can think of in hockey of just get this guy here, everything will change. He goes there, everything did change. Oy.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'm feel stupid for not thinking about that, but yeah, that's 100% number 1 by far, because you're not only talking about like you get one of the better defensemen in NHL history, but I think that when you talk about like the Bruins culture and how much is said about that right now and how sustainable it's been, the like day 1 of that was signing to Zdeno Chara and having him change the culture of the Bruins.
And part of it was also on the same day signing Mark Savard to a big contract. But man, it's in doing the research for this, it's the 17.05% of the cap that gets me. That is so much. Like, that is Crosby, Ovechkin type contract territory. We're just like, you know what? We'll figure out the rest of our roster later. We just need to make sure that we have this guy. What a signing.
And it was smart.
And all of his future deals, like the cap would go up and Chara would sign for less. He also, I believe, had more money on the table from the Rangers and the Kings. But a big part, I think, was Boston was going to make him captain and he liked Peter Chiarelli and all that. So fun little exercise, and tells you, because this is all factual, it's objective. No. Yes, it's objective. This is all correct. Zach Hyman is currently the best active free agent signing. Pretty impressive.